now. Zanele Sabela is the COSATU national spokesperson and joins us for this conversation as we try and get a little bit more. Zanele, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. When it comes to a story like this, having spoken to Dr. Moloabi a little bit earlier on this past week actually, I mean, he's saying that it's being abused. How do you respond to that? He says the medical aid is just being abused, that's why.
Hi, Arabile. Thank you so much for this fabulous opportunity. Now, when the doctor says that the medical aid is being abused, this is some of the problems that we have with the executive and the board, because they're supposed to put measures in place. These are their fiduciary duties to put measures in place to make sure that the medical aid is not being abused. And they are in risk management. These are the type of things that they're supposed to be doing. Now, for them to not do their jobs and to actually expect now that workers, they will pickpocket workers and take the money out of workers' pockets, when he himself has admitted that they realize that everyone is under strain. This particular medical aid was formulated to make sure that public servants actually have affordable medical cover. It wasn't meant to be a commercial venture. It was made to make sure that all public servants have, especially the low to middle income public servants, they have affordable cover. Now, if we sit here and inflation, that the figures that have just come in are saying inflation is sitting at 3.5, and they're talking about, you've just said that they're saying it's 9.5. That 9.5, they only brought it down from 9.8 after we said to them, no, this is unaffordable. Now, to actually give us a 0.3 off is an insult, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, and when you compare it as well to just some of the other medical aids, and I'm going to put them out by name because I just have the figures as well. That's Medfield and Discovery. That's far less than what this is even being put forward by GEMS, the Government Employee Medical Scheme. So when you engage with GEMS as it is and the principal officer, and what is it exactly that is shared as even a compromise, if there even is one?
Well, the compromise is that one, that they said, you can have 0.3% off, which is a joke. It is an absolute joke. And we've spoken to them and we've engaged. We've tried to engage with them to say this is really quite unaffordable. To think that the Council for Medical Schemes actually came through to them and said they recommend a 3.3% increase. And for them to actually triple that is actually, I don't know. I at this point, we don't even know what to call it. And for them to actually stick to their guns, just it says that they just don't realize how much workers are angry. Workers are angry and they want something done about this. And we are going to do exactly that this week. During the week on Tuesday, there's going to be lunchtime pickets all over the country. And then on Thursday, we are heading to GEMS's head office in Pretoria, where we are going to demonstrate. But this is part of rolling mass action. It won't end here, and they will get to where we need them to get to, even though they are being very stubborn at this point.
Yeah, will that be just your members, or will that be all the people who are on GEMS? And how many people will that be, per se, that are going to be protesting, you said, for lunchtime, and then on Thursday, the total number for that demonstration?
So you'll know that our affiliates include Dinosa, Nihau, SATU, the teachers, the police, the Sayepu, Bausa, and so it is a lot of unions and a lot of members that are going to be coming through. And so we are expecting a lot of people to come through. And we're saying to those who are not union members, this is your medical aid. SAMATU, I forgot to mention SAMATU. SAMATU is the union for doctors. Even the doctors are angry about this and they're saying this is unaffordable. And these would be the people that know how medical aid works. And even for them, they're saying this is unaffordable and is actually quite ridiculous. And therefore, we must stand up. Even if you're not a union member, come through. This for COSATU is a Section 77 protest, which just means like it's about socio-economic issues, and you will be protected. Come through. It is important for you to come through and raise your voice against this.
Yeah, and raising the voice, I suppose, very, very critical and important here. What if the demands are not met or not acquiesced? What if your request to have this lowered down even further? And also, what is that figure that you're proposing in terms of lowering it down? Is it the 3.3% that was proposed?
The 3.3% would do very nicely, but I am preempting it. I am not a negotiator, and so I shouldn't be saying that. But you know, now that it has been, considering also that public servants had a wage increase of 5.5% last year, and this year stands to be even less. Then when you look at that, just by comparison of the two figures, you see people will be out of pocket. And there are also particular, plans where even though government is paying for them, they are not able to access private medical care. So why do you have a medical aid if you can't even access medical care? And so private medical care. And so those are the problems. And that's why we are speaking about them, about the GEMS executive and the GEMS board, to say that, they are letting go of their fiduciary duties. There's so much that they should be doing here. And we have a problem with that. And we also have a problem with the fact that, although we've read that GEMS, in terms of the board, are not the best paid, but given the amount of meetings that they had, I think year before last, about 52 meetings for the year, that would mean these people met every week of the year. That is absolutely ridiculous when you think about it, though, even though they're not the best paid, but given the many, many meetings that they've had, they end up actually being the best paid uh, in their sector. And this is it's ridiculous to think about that, to say that workers, someone who actually works for government is actually subsidizing the board. And we know how much, those fees can be. They go into the millions when you think about 52 meetings a year.
Yeah, and one just wonders how in the world and what exactly those meetings were certainly about. And hopefully something I can actually ask the principal officer about very soon, hopefully, in all of that. So if you don't get your stated demand here, which is to have Dr. Moloabi and perhaps part of the board even dismissed, what then?
So first prize is to have this ridiculous increase actually withdrawn. That's first prize. And if that doesn't happen, this is a first stage. This is a first stage of our protest. We will continue to look at other possibilities, and that would include taking the legal route. And so we're not stopping at anything. We are ready. Workers are really, really angry, and because of that, then we are fueled to take this further. And so this is the first phase, and then we'll keep going at it.
And I suppose that another problem is that you've seen such a massive increase. What is it, just last year as well? So it's going to be 2 years of consecutive increases when the increase in the amount, the pay for government employees hasn't increased by a similar portion here. Are there conversations, not just with negotiators here, but even with lawyers? Does this have to get taken to court, or what else? What other avenues are there here?
Well, this court is another way of looking at this. But then another thing that we should be looking at is the fact that, like I said, this medical aid is part of a resolution at the bargaining council. And so the other thing that we're looking at is the fact that now the board is actually dominated by private people. It doesn't have enough worker representation, and that perhaps this is where we are going wrong. And so we will be wanting more worker representation on that board, because then they will more forcefully represent workers, side of the story. Because what we're seeing now is that the board and the executive are not, they're supposed to, their fiduciary duties is the fact that they're supposed to be doing everything for the benefit of the workers, for the benefit of the members of this medical aid, but that's not what we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I think this is bound to continue for some time. We're hoping to actually speak to James again this coming weekend, considering your demand as well here. So hopefully we can get them onto one of our shows as well. Zanele, Sabela, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it there. COSATU's national spokesperson joining us as we just try to get into the weeds of, or out of the weeds rather, of this story where the medical aid costs of those that are part of the government employee medical scheme just skyrocketing year on year, nearly double digits for 2 years in a row.